the last, I want to say, couple weeks, Ryan has increasingly kind of gotten on my nerves. When I seen the video, I was not jealous. I am happy for him. If he wants to go and dance with a million girls, if he wants to go to a club, cool, I'm happy. I don't care. And I understand that sexism and favoritism towards men has been a thing for as long as can be, okay? We're still married. He's still married. I'm still married. What I'm saying is 2 wrongs don't make a right. And I would hope that he would give me the respect, or if he doesn't respect me, please respect my child, because my child doesn't deserve all this chaos. I don't purposely shoot shots at Ryan often, so when I do, it's because I'm really fed up. And I mean, raise your hand in the chat if you've ever had an ex that just got under your skin, dude. Seriously.
This is how manipulative, and you keep defending her.
So it says at the top, Gypsy Rose A. Anderson, alleged father, Keenan R. Urker. In the top right-hand corner, it says possibility of paternity, 99.9%.
Gypsy and Ryan took off and grabbed people's attention. It all started with Gypsy coming onto Ryan's social media and dropping what can only be described as a blunt, direct accusation. She's calling him out, saying he's using her name for clout, that he's cashing in on her reputation, and if you read between the lines, she's hinting he may be doing it for money too. So she leaves this comment for the world to see, but just as quickly as she posts it, she deletes it. Then, as the online backlash picks up speed, she decides to double down with a live stream. Instead of stepping back or acknowledging what she said, Gypsy goes all in, trying to explain her actions but coming across defensive and even more controversial.
Once the divorce is final, go our separate ways. I'm happy in my life with Ken. We're expecting a baby. He can have a girlfriend. I don't care. I'm happy for him. But for me, it's kind of don't sit there and then constantly be like, she's my wife. I can talk about her all I want. She's my wife. She's my wife. She's my wife. Well, looking at that video, that's my husband. That's my husband.
But she doesn't stop there. In a move that feels straight out of a soap opera, she posts another video, this time with a cryptic message directed at Ryan, with lyrics and tones that make people think she's got unfinished business with him. This video just stars things up even more. Her fans, her critics, everyone is buzzing, questioning her motives and calling her out for the contradictions. It's as if at every step, she's creating more reasons for people to wonder what's really going on in her life.
Are we literally watching Gypsy manipulate Ryan in front of our faces? Is this for real right now? She posted this after her live. I don't have any words. Do y'all have words? Somebody, y'all need words, because I don't know what to say after this. This is a bit much.
And just when the backlash starts to hit a peak, when her name is circulating and people are talking about the questionable timing and motives behind her actions, she drops yet another twist, a paternity test. Out of nowhere, Gypsy suddenly reveals the paternity results for her child, confirming that Ken is the father. It feels like perfect timing, almost too perfect, as if this reveal was waiting in the wings, ready to cover up everything else that just happened. Because almost immediately, the focus shifts. The news about the test results takes over, becoming the headline, the talking point. People are jumping on it, from social media to mainstream outlets, and suddenly, her comment about Ryan, the live stream, the cryptic video, all of it fades into the background.
Listen. Okay, I want to thank you, because me and Ryan were getting real damn nervous that baby was ours, okay? I thought in a blink of an eye I was going to be a mother. Turns out it's no job, Kens. Thank gosh, because we were hesitant. We were panicking, okay? We're not ready to be your baby's mama and daddy, all right? Gyp, are you really the mama? I know we know that baby's no job Ken's for sure. It's going to come out with no damn job. But is it yours?
It's like Gypsy knew exactly what she was doing, as if she had this paternity reveal ready to pull out as a way to manage the fallout. She knew people would latch onto the news about her child, but it would overshadow all the messy details of what she'd just done. And now, instead of questioning her motives, people are talking about the test results. She's managed to turn the story around, exactly as she planned, with everyone focused on the paternity instead of the storm she stirred up before.
Then it shows the probability of paternity, 99.9%, non-invasive parental or prenatal paternity test. And then it just shows it right there, y'all. It says the alleged father is not excluded as the biological father of the fetus. Testing was performed to determine paternity using cell-free circulated fetal DNA. Y'all.
So here's the real start of this saga, the point where everything begins to unravel. Gypsy decides to call Ryan out on his own post, and she doesn't hold back. She's saying he's taking her name and using it for attention, maybe even financial gain. Now look, I'm all for people standing up for themselves when they feel they're being used for this or disrespected. But coming from Gypsy, well, it's a bold move. Because when you look at her past, she's not exactly got a squeaky clean reputation herself. In fact, the main reason she's so high profile is due to some seriously heavy situations that most people would try to keep under wraps.
To be pregnant by a whole nother man, to come online multiple times a week or month or whatever her schedule is, to go on the show that y'all started together, and then you end with another man and pregnant, and then you have the gall and the audacity to get mad because Ryan was at a function and some girl backed it up.
Now here's the kicker. She doesn't just put up the comment, she deletes it, almost as if she thinks that this will just make it vanish. But that's not how things work online. We all know that once it's on the internet, it's essentially permanent. And people, especially in today's hyper-connected world, are quick to save, share, and amplify anything that has the potential to stir things up. So then we get to the part where things start getting tangled up. Gypsy decides to go live on her platform, doubling down on her stance but also tripping herself up with a series of contradictions. One moment, she's talking about how she's moved on from Ryan, saying she's over whatever history they have, but the very next moment, she's back to mentioning him repeatedly, as if she can't quite let go.
And the thing is like in the past, like he has said on lives, like I'm moving on, but then like 2 days later text me that he misses me, and I know that's part of the healing process. But I feel like it's a facade for lives and people, the public. I feel like he's not really moving on when he does that. So yeah, I get frustrated.
And then she brings up her pregnancy, almost suggesting that people should go easy on her because she's in this delicate phase of life. Now, pregnancy is no small thing. It's a huge life-changing experience filled with all sorts of emotions. But here's the thing. It starts to feel like Gypsy is using her pregnancy as a way to excuse her behavior. Instead of actually addressing the criticism or the accusations she's made, she's leaning on her pregnancy as a way to avoid the conversation. And that's where her story begins to lose credibility for a lot of people.
I just want him to give me that same respect too. He doesn't have to, but it would be nice. And I think the bigger picture here is there is a child in this situation. It's not his child, so I know that it's not his problem, but there is a child involved because it's not about him, it's not about me, it's not about Ken, it's about this baby. This baby is innocent in all of this. This baby didn't ask to be brought into the situation.
And as if that wasn't enough, she starts suggesting that the backlash she's facing is because she's a woman, even implying that if a man were in her position, she wouldn't be catching nearly as much heat. Now, let's be real. There are absolutely situations where sexism plays a role, where women are unfairly criticized for things a man might not be. But in this case, it's hard not to feel like Gypsy is pulling this out as another layer of defense. She's using it as if to say, you can't criticize me because I'm pregnant. And oh, by the way, this wouldn't be happening if I were a guy. It's almost like she's stacking reasons why people should back off, creating a wall of excuses that protect her from having to face up to the real issues at hand.
I understand that sexism and favoritism towards men has been a thing for as long as can be. So I just don't see how when a man does something, then it's praised. But when a woman does something, she gets slandered and slammed for it. I did file for divorce. I did go ahead and make that separation legally. And then got with Ken.
But accountability doesn't work that way. You can't just keep putting up barriers every time people question you. People are not buying it though. Instead of seeing a woman who's genuinely moving forward with her life, the public started to see someone who might just be manipulating the narrative, trying to avoid the tough questions by hiding behind layers of emotional and social shields. And that shift in perception? It's a pretty big deal when you're already a public figure with a lot of eyes on you. And then she drops another bombshell that left people reeling. Gypsy casually mentions that she and Ryan are still technically married. Now, think about that for a second. Here's someone who's supposedly moved on, who's with someone else, who's starting a family with Ken, but then, almost as a throwaway line, she's like, oh, by the way, we're still married.
Some girls ask, that's my husband. We're still married. He's still married. I'm still.
Did you not get pregnant while being married? With another man's baby? Did you not just post DNA results to prove that your husband was not the father of your child?
The implications here are huge. It's like she's saying, yes, I moved on with Ken, but don't forget, I still have this legal tie to Ryan. For a lot of people, that raises a whole lot of questions. Because if Gypsy's still holding on to that legal connection to Ryan, is she really moving forward with Ken? Or is she keeping that link as a way to stay tethered to her past, maybe even to keep a bit of control over Ryan? This claim throws more intentions into the different light. People start questioning if Gypsy is really as committed to moving on as she says, or if she's intentionally keeping one foot in the past. For someone who insists they're all about a fresh start, it seems strange to be clinging on to that tie. And that's hard to ignore. And it's hard to ignore the possibility that she may be holding on to Ryan in any way she can, even if it's through something as technical as a legal document.
Ryan don't want you back, baby. He ain't want you back, sweetheart. Really ain't all that in a bag of chips. And you're just mad that Ryan accidentally ended up with a psychopath like you, and then now he sees what the real world is fun and full of life that you sucked out from him. I'm gonna keep sliding in them DMs. Jip, he ain't gonna take you back, baby. We gonna make sure of that.
Now, this is where things start to feel even more complicated. During the live, Gypsy starts throwing around some accusations about Ryan's character, hinting that he's using her and maybe not treating the people in his life as well as he should. From the outside, though, a lot of this looks like jealousy. It's almost as if Gypsy can't stand the idea that Ryan may be moving on without her. So she's trying to paint him as the bad guy to keep some hold on him. And here's the real question. If Gypsy is so over Ryan, if she's truly moved on and is committed to building this new life with Ken, why does she care so much about what Ryan's doing or who he's seeing? Why go out of her way to make him look bad if she's supposedly focused on her own happiness and future? It just doesn't add up. Instead, it starts to look like her words are driven by bitterness, maybe even a bit of possessiveness. Instead of just letting him move on, she's dragging him back into her story, making sure that he's still a part of her narrative.
Please, can we just think about my child for a second in this and be wrong about it? That's all that I ask. I'm not trying to come at you. I'm not trying to prevent you from healing or getting a girlfriend. I'm happy if you do. My wish is that, I have my happiness with Ken and you have a happiness with someone that will love you the way you should be loved. Because I know you have a good heart. You have a good heart. And I'm hoping that you didn't let me ruin that good part in your heart.
One of the recurring themes in Gypsy's live stream was her attempt to bring up her difficult past as a way to explain, even excuse her behavior. She talks about her trauma, about the struggles she's had to face, asking for understanding and compassion from her audience. And listen, there is no doubt that Gypsy has been through a lot. She's faced situations that almost people couldn't imagine. But here's the issue. Using her past as a shield every time she's criticized starts to feel, well, manipulative. Yes, we can acknowledge that trauma is a part of her story. It shapes her and it explains why she might react to things in certain ways, but it doesn't erase the impact of what she's doing now. Trauma might be a reason for certain behaviors, does not justify them. And by constantly bringing it up in moments where she's facing backlash, it starts to feel like she's trying to dodge responsibility, hoping that people will give her a pass because of what she's been through. So by this point, what we're seeing is a pattern, a mix of deflection, denial, and a strong resistance to take real accountability.
I feel like he's not really moving on when he does that, so yeah, I get frustrated. I still don't know what's going on with this freaking court. I texted my lawyer yesterday. She was supposed to give me a call. I'm waiting for her to give me a call. Last thing I heard was that, Ryan went in to sign the divorce papers. So I signed, he signed. We're just waiting for a court date and for the judge to finalize everything.
Gypsy isn't just explaining herself, she's building a narrative where she's the victim, where she's always misunderstood. Each excuse, each attempt to shift the blame only makes it harder to believe that she's really moved on. Now you'd think that would be the end of it, right? But no, just when everyone thought they'd had it all from her live stream, Gypsy follows up with a video that, to be honest, feels straight out of a soap opera. She picks a song with lyrics that seem like they're directed right at Ryan, as if she's saying, yeah, I may have messed up, but you'd be crazy not to want me back. And let's just pause on that for a second. Here is someone who's supposed to be with Ken, who is telling everyone she's moved on. But if that's really the case, why send this kind of message? Why put out something that feels so obviously meant for Ryan? It's almost like she's leaving breadcrumbs, hoping he'll follow them back to her. And honestly, it feels calculated. She's not coming out and saying these things directly, but the message is crystal clear. She's still got her sights set on Ryan, and she's making sure he knows it, whether he wants to or not.
This is how manipulative, and you keep defending her over Nicholas Godejohn, and you see what she's doing in front of everybody. She playing in your face and telling you I can have my cake and eat it too, and I'm gonna do it online and make sure everybody see it, and I don't care. Is what she's saying. I just want you to know that. That's all I have to say.
Maybe Gypsy's going through a rough time. Maybe she's having doubts. But at a certain point, you ask yourself, who is she really thinking about here? Because if she's genuinely focused on building a future with Ken, why go to such lengths to make sure Ryan sees it? The way Gypsy puts out this video speaks volumes. She's not just sharing a song or posting something random. No, she's putting out just enough to plant a seed, to make Ryan question if he made the wrong choice in leaving her behind. And this is where we start seeing her real intention. It's not just about sharing a song, it's about using that song to get inside Ryan's head, to remind him that she's still here and that she still matters. This kind of move is a classic case of emotional manipulation. It's the sort of thing that makes you wonder if Gypsy is really as focused on her future with Ken as she's claiming. Because, let's be honest, if you're genuinely ready to move on, you don't spend time sending cryptic messages to your ex. You don't try to pull them back into your life.
It looks like Gypsy Rose is bringing back Miss Raunchy Ruby. I'm just saying. And you all remember what happened the last time she let Ruby loose. Now this is just for educational purposes only, entertainment purposes only, a warning, whatever it is you want to call it, but I'm just saying. Ryan, Ken, and whoever the hell Oscar is, y'all may want to be careful because, she's letting Ruby loose.
Naturally, it did not take long for people to see right through Gypsy's video. People were quick to pick up on the double meaning, noticing that her so-called fresh start with Ken wasn't looking as genuine as she's still out here sending these messages to Ryan. Viewers saw her actions for what they were, an attempt to shape how people perceive her, trying to play both the role of someone who's moved on and someone who's still holding on to the past. And public perception, it can be brutal. When people feel like they're being manipulated or lied to, they don't hold back. Many were quick to call her out, to question if this new life she's promoting is even real. Gypsy's carefully curated narrative started to crack, and the more she tried to control the story, the more people began to doubt her sincerity. It became apparent that she was doing a balancing act, trying to keep everyone in her life exactly where she wanted them. But the thing is, the harder she tried to control the narrative, the less people believed in the story she was trying to sell. So, what are we seeing here? Gypsy's telling people she's moved on, but her actions are sending the opposite message. It's almost like she's trying to keep Ryan emotionally attached without really letting him or anyone else see what's actually going on in her mind. And for a lot of people, that kind of mixed signal doesn't just create confusion, it creates mistrust.
Like, either she is trolling us because she's kind of falling off, or she really just wants to go back with Ryan. I don't know. What do you guys think? I forgot to mention, you're literally pregnant with another man's baby. And you're mad at Ryan for dancing. I'm gonna let y'all handle this.
Then, just when things were heating up even more, Gypsy threw up another plot twist. Right after the fallout from her comments, live stream, and that video aimed at Ryan, she drops the news that she's got a paternity test confirming that Ken is, indeed, the father of her child. Now, think about this timing. She's just been called out, her motives have been questioned, and just as people start digging deeper into her actions, she brings in something that would completely shift the story to a more positive angle. It's almost like perfect timing, maybe too perfect. People started wondering if this paternity reveal was really about sharing big family news or if it was a way to redirect the conversation. Was this actually about Ken and the baby, or was it just a strategic move to get people to focus on something else? Something that would make her look better in the public eye. Now let's think about the timing here. Gypsy could have revealed the paternity results at any point, but instead, she waits until right after people start questioning her actions, accusing her of holding on to the past, and calling her out for those mixed messages towards Ryan. And that's where people began to see the reveal as more than just a family moment. It started to look like a well-timed move to manage her image, to try and sweep her other actions under the rug. It's as if she's saying, forget everything you just saw, look at this happy news. I'm with Ken, we're starting a family. But the timing feels off. It doesn't feel like she's genuinely sharing a joyful moment. It feels calculated, like she's trying to control the narrative once again.
TMZ, front and center. So you guys continue to perpetuate her lies. No matter what, you guys don't care. You don't care that you guys are teaching kids to unalive their parents and come out and be famous. Knowing that this is all lies, y'all keep going with this. Because you guys showed the screenshots of what she said about the paternity test on her social media, which means you know she's been trolling her husband on social media and been doing demonic things. But you're okay with that.
According to the test, Ken is indeed the father, and Gypsy makes sure everyone knows it. But even here, it's hard to ignore how she's using this information. This should be a private matter between her and Ken, something they share as a couple, but instead, she's presenting it to the public almost as a statement, as if she's trying to prove something. It's like she's saying, see, I'm moving forward. I'm building this family with Ken. I'm committed to this life. But the way she's handling it feels like PR than a personal announcement. And listen, everyone wants clarity, especially when it comes to big life events like this. But when Gypsy presents this test to the public, it starts to feel less like it's about her and Ken and more about crafting a new image. It's almost as if she's using the paternity results to send a message to shut down the conversation around her behavior with Ryan. And when you look at it from that angle, the sincerity starts to feel a little shaky. Now let's talk about the test itself. It's from an independent body, not a court-ordered or legal test. And for some people, That raises a red flag. They start wondering if this is the final word or if there could be more to it down the line, especially if this ends up in court. We've already seen how Gypsy likes to manage her image and control how people see her. So it is possible that there could be additional tests in the future, especially if someone like Ryan or another party challenges the results.
In that this sample contains a mixture of maternal and fetal DNA. DNA was also isolated from nucleated cells in samples from the mother and alleged father. All DNA samples were analyzed using next-generation sequencing technology. Blah, 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 blah.
Now, as we know, this was a paternity test that Gypsy decided to do herself, as she will inevitably have to take another test after birth since she's still legally married to Ryan. So the fact that she just took this test to appease the public and supposedly Ryan so that he can move on is just wild.
We've already seen how Gypsy likes to manage her image and control how people see her. So, is it possible that there could be additional tests in the future, especially if someone like Ryan or another party challenges the results? It's a reminder that with Gypsy, there always seems to be another layer, another twist that could pop up, and while this test result might seem straightforward, it doesn't erase the other questions and concerns people have about her actions. In fact, some people even felt that this reveal was a way to shut down criticism, rather than genuinely addressing the situation. It's like she's trying to close the conversation, rather than actually engaging with it. And there's another thing that caught people's attention: Ken's reaction, or rather, his lack of one. For someone who's supposedly building a family and starting this new life with Gypsy, he's been noticeably silent. No celebratory posts, no statements from him. Everything we're seeing is coming directly from Gypsy, and that raises its own set of questions. If Ken is truly on board with this, if he's fully committed to this new chapter with Gypsy, wouldn't he be out here too? Wouldn't he want to share the news with everyone? Instead, his silence almost seems like he's being pulled along, like he's not fully prepared for the image Gypsy's putting out there. It makes people wonder if he's feeling as uncertain as the rest of us, watching this unfold.
I thought in a blink of an eye I was going to be a mother. Turns out it's no job, Kent. Thank gosh, because we were hesitant. We were panicking, okay? We're not ready to be your baby's mama and daddy, all right? But is it yours? Now, don't get anything twisted. I didn't say me and Ryan were having a baby. But I'm just going to let you know, even from states away, that 10-foot pole might travel far.
Of course, we can't forget the other voices in the story. Amber J., one of Ryan's rumored girlfriends, had a few words to say about the situation. And let's just say she didn't hold back. Amber openly mocked Gypsy's actions, expressing relief that Ryan wasn't the father and calling out what she saw as Gypsy's obvious attempts to keep him tethered to her life. In a way, Amber's reactions reflect what a lot of people are feeling. She puts into words what many were thinking, that Gypsy's actions don't look like someone who's genuinely moved on. Instead, it seems like she's clinging to whatever hold she can keep on Ryan, unable to fully let go. And Amber's blunt comments, they only fueled the fire, adding to the perception that Gypsy's behavior is becoming less about a fresh start and more about staying relevant, about keeping Ryan in her life any way she can. So, what we have here isn't just a simple paternity reveal, it's a part of a complex web of timing, image management, and attempts to steer the narrative. Gypsy's telling everyone she's moving on, but her actions, they say otherwise. Whether it's through a cryptic message, comments about Ryan, or the strategically timed paternity reveal, she's sending out mixed signals that are hard to ignore. And maybe, one day, Gypsy will genuinely be ready to leave the past behind. But right now, it seems like the story is far from over. Every move she makes, every new twist, only leaves us with more questions and fewer answers.